Welcome to Intelligent Human Leadership, leading yourself and your team. Do you ever find yourself grappling with a lack of confidence in your team? Or battling the relentless waves of concern and fear? Are the pressures to meet client expectations and the burden of missed opportunities weighing you down? On this podcast, you'll discover the strategies and insights that will reignite your team's morale and help you find the harmony and knowledge you seek to propel your business forward. Here, we explore innovative ways to reignite your creative spirit and achieve greatness, empowering you to lead with intelligence, compassion, and resilience. If you're ready to dive deep into your core of leadership challenges and be guided toward success, here's your host, founder of Steward Your Business, David Carr.
Well, so glad to have you back here in the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. I love to bring you guys real-world examples of what I live every day, every week, so that you can apply this in you becoming the most intelligent human leader and in your company, organization. And so recently, and I'm actually still in the middle of it, but I have the opportunity to serve on a jury. Now, those of you that have served on a jury, you know you can't talk about the case and all that stuff, so I'm not going to be getting into any of the specifics of the case, but I can talk about the court system and the experience that I'm having and applying some of the things that we talk about here on the podcast. And so one of the concepts that we jumped into, I wanted to share with you guys today, was this idea of direct and circumstantial evidence. If you're not familiar with those terms, I'll take a moment here just to kind of give you my take on them. And if you're a legal expert, feel free to comment and share. But this is my layman's perspective and understanding of this. And I think I want to bring this into the area of leadership, knowing yourself to lead yourself well and your team. But I think we're all very familiar with direct evidence. Direct evidence is, eyewitness accounts. It's where you have somebody that literally has seen the act happen, documented it. They were there, they heard it, they saw it, they tasted it. Whatever the experience is, they were a firsthand direct account. And what's interesting in the legal system is that's what we rely on in the court system. There is supplemental information, but for example, if the burden of proof is on a plaintiff in this case, and so it always is, the defendant is innocent until proven guilty, and so one of the things that was brought up is that you can't just get a report and just say, "Here, read the report," and make your decision on the report, because the report is a one-sided assessment. We all have biases. We all have perspectives on certain things. And so if we just read the report and the report concluded that, we don't hear all the other evidence. So we need to hear firsthand and how important that is. And so I'm not going to delve too much onto that, but I do want to make sure if you're an intelligent human leader, you better have direct evidence of people seeing you in action in leading. And we can go down that road, but I want to talk more about today about the second part, the second evidence, which is called circumstantial evidence, which I think is a bit more nuanced. Although it's not super complicated, but it is a little more nuanced. And in fact, our judge went through this exercise with us in the courtroom, giving us examples of what that would look like. And it is important that we, as leaders, have both direct and circumstantial evidence pointing to our leadership in the organization. You're not going to have people that are going to see you directly leading an individual, let's say, or interacting with a client. They are going to have to get circumstantial evidence around them. And especially as your organization grows, as you have more people underneath you, there's less likelihood they're going to see you in a direct role as much as they're going to see circumstantial evidence. Now, what's interesting in the law is that both are considered equal. Direct and circumstantial evidence are considered equal given, beyond a reasonable doubt, right? That's what we have our laws based on. And so can we convict you, if you will, and this is a good conviction, of leading your organization based on circumstantial evidence, not just direct evidence. And so this has got my mind spinning in a good way as I go through this and I have to evaluate the facts of the case and the facts of the way that people show up in my life. I oftentimes do not see their direct actions, but I look at the result of the direct actions. So an example of, just to give you a simple circumstantial evidence is, if you saw if you literally saw a leader mentoring or talking to a staff member, right, and them able to complete an assignment or follow up with a client, and you knew that there was a direct connection there, that they had talked with you, literally saw them, you observed them talking about the problem, the challenges, the input. Maybe you were a part of that conversation. You saw the leader creating that experience and environment, right? That is direct. Now say, for example, that was a closed door meeting. You were not a part of it. You were not there. And you have this colleague, if you will, go and is able to perform, win the contract, let's say, and they can attribute that to the support that they have been given from the leadership team. That's more circumstantial. You're like, okay, I know the leadership team's there. They have support from maybe the admin team they can pull from. I didn't see them specifically go get the template or proposal template or work with a proposal coordinator, but they won the work. There was all these elements that had to have happen, and it occurred. And so there is enough circumstantial evidence to point to the success of this individual. And this is what I'm getting at in this episode of the podcast is there enough circumstantial evidence to convict you in a good way that you're leading your organization, you're leading yourself. Number one, we start with ourselves, but the idea is that by leading ourselves and knowing ourselves well, right, that we can know our teams and lead them well and so on and so forth in the organization. And so oftentimes it may be difficult to observe this. And so we have to look at indirect indicators that suggest the presence of effective leadership qualities and practices in your organization. So I'm going to give you some examples. I want you to think about it because it could be the reverse could be true as well. If you're not seeing these things, there's a problem in your organization. And that's one of the things I work on, not just with business owners and their leaders, but individuals too, to make sure that they're having as much direct impact and indirect circumstantial evidence, if you will, pointing to getting healthier in an organization. So this is a challenge I think a lot of business owners face because they don't see the direct sometimes, and it's hard to see a direct correlation in these things. And so they're looking at secondary indicators, and together those things add up to point to basically equal a direct evidence. So let me just get into a couple here I want you to consider. Oftentimes, culture and morale are one of the ones that are hard to see a direct correlation, but that will be circumstantial evidence. You will see if there's a healthy leader or leaders in your organization, hopefully you have more than one, all of you, that you create an environment that is positive, inclusive, supportive. That means that you are prioritizing the employee wellness. You're looking at a culture of respect and collaboration. Now, you may not see me literally showing you direct respect or collaboration within the organization. I'll do it with an individual, one-on-one, right? Perhaps a group, but not everyone's going to see everybody. However, if everyone does that with each other, whether it's seen directly, you will reap the benefits, if you will, circumstantially throughout your organization. And That will obviously lead to higher morale. You have higher employee satisfaction, engagement, and this is reflective of leadership that communicates and supports and inspires the workforce. Now, here's another flip side of this that you may see. Again, circumstantial, because you may not see a direct interaction with a manager or a leader with an employee that is negative, right? I was just talking with a colleague the other day about an organization he's a part of, and he's like talking to this coworker, and he's like, yeah, I just got let go. I don't even know why. It's unclear. So he's seeing the evidence of somebody being let go by bad management in the way that this was an employee, but that the manager has issues and challenges and maybe not be the most effective leader in the way they want to handle problems and challenges. But you're going to see attrition. You're going to see employee turnover as evidence to the leadership or lack thereof of the leadership. So if you start to see attrition or dropping off, I just conducted an exit interview yesterday because I wanted to understand why that person was leaving the organization. What was the effect of the leadership team or not? And so it's really important you pay attention to these indicators. And if you do not, the evidence will mount up, and these indicators at once are not one is not enough, right? If the one was enough, that would be direct evidence. We're looking for layering multiple indicators that would point to the facts of solid leadership or poor leadership, poor organizational health, great organizational health. We're looking at these things. So culture, morale, a positive work environment, high employee engagement. These are evidence of empowering leadership, those that as an overall company and culture. And one of the things I do in Steward Your Business, I do actually a team assessment. And if you're ever interested in this, we go through a whole bunch of areas, communication and collaboration within the company. And we actually can score you and see like, where are you now and where are you later? So there's a bunch of different indicators, if you will, that we can look at of this evidence. And most of this is going to be more circumstantial because you're not going to see it. As a business owner, think about this. As you grow the company, you grow the organization, you're not seeing your team in action directly most of the time. You'll see a certain level of leaders, but not beyond that. So how do you understand and know what's going on within an organization? You need to have evidence. You need to look at that and be clear about the facts. We're not looking for speculation. We're not looking for stories. Here's a thing I talked with a different colleague about, where she was in a big organization, corporate organization, where at a very high level, and where there was others in the organization, one particular, that would put spin on everything. And so they weren't dealing with the real facts. They were dealing with an interpretation of one person's assessment of this evidence, if you will. And so if you're funneling that through one person, just be careful about this. I want to advise you to be very careful about putting all your eggs in one basket or listening to that one voice. That's why I come in as a third party, independent of that, and looking at your organization holistically and getting a better picture, really what's going on. And think of me as a kind of private investigator, if you will, peeling back the layers, understanding what's going on, gathering the evidence as to the health and wealth of your company. You know, how are you guys all holding up together, or is there a breakdown? And we look at all the evidence, we lay it all out, and again, then we can make a plan together. But if we don't understand the facts clearly, there's no way we can build effectively, in my opinion, an organization. It will come down on itself at one point because of these holes that you have within the organization. So couple other areas I want to highlight with you that you want to look at for circumstantial evidence of strong, powerful leadership that's really bringing clarity to your organization is, we talked about employee morale and your positive work environment. Well, that should lead to performance and productivity, not just efficiencies, but really effectiveness. And so if we look at this, leadership will successfully motivate and leverage the strengths of your team? Is each person in the organization in their sweet spot? Are they doing what they do best? Or do you have this, disjunct, kind of maybe at odds with each other, departments, individuals? This is really vital. This is my personal why, to bring people together to accomplish great things. You will see, like a well-oiled machine or a sports team. Think about this. If those of you like sports, everybody knows their position. They know how to play well. They know how to collaborate. They know how to get the relay done. It's because there's a strong, effective leadership here, and you're seeing the evidence of that. Maybe you're not seeing that leader directly talk to the team members, walking through their assignments, understanding the challenges and the problems they're facing, but you're seeing the overall productivity rise. One of my friends and colleagues just told me this, that he's in a manufacturing capacity with president of a company, and seeing the difference between his team and their engagement, because he was leading, and then his next level of reports below him were leading, and the amazing change that it had to the bottom line, increasing productivity, reducing friction in the area of overhead, meaning they were looking for ways that they could actually improve the process. So while he wasn't out there in the machines working with these individuals directly, he saw the results. He saw the evidence, the circumstantial evidence. He did, while his leader did see the direct evidence because they were working. So you're having both. Remember, we want both direct and circumstantial evidence pointing to you the facts that you are an effective leader. So if you continue down this road of performance and productivity, your quality goes up, right? So you see that. If your quality is diminishing, right? If your productivity is diminishing, there's a leadership problem there too, because what is that? What's the problem there? And we're seeing an effect of, there's a breakdown. And so we have to get at the facts of why that is. The positive side of it is, once we go through and we address that, we clear the way, and that's what I help with intelligent human leadership and the Steward Your Business, is that we can create a pathway for innovation and growth. So are you a leader? Do you have a leader that's a creative person? And in the 5 voices, when I do that assessment, I look at the different voices and the strengths in the organization, and creatives in particular, also pioneers, and connectors, I would say all, but particularly creatives, have this amazing ability for innovation and coming up with possibilities and ways of being. And so we should be looking for evidence of innovation, new ideas coming up, right? That leadership is encouraging creativity, taking calculated risks, supports the team. There's a level of experimentation, if you will. And so I've been working with, for example, with a team of project managers, and we're helping them look for ways that they can better run projects, coordinate with the team, with the client. And I work with a business owner too. Now, the business owner isn't doing all that every day. Now, they do definitely help, but that's why I came in as a consultant and coach to help them. Now, they're seeing the direct results though, meaning circumstantially, they're seeing their project managers be more confident. They see them willing to try some new things, learn how to do some new things, using different tools in order to get the job done. Now, the overall leader of the organization didn't enforce or put that in place, but they're seeing the evidence, the circumstantial evidence of this happening. And so obviously, as a company grows, this is what we all want, that your expansion, you're growing, your revenue is going up, your market share, if you will, your team size. This can all point to strategic leadership that's guiding your company. And that's something that I help with business owners, because sometimes it's hard. It is hard to go alone, and you're not meant to go alone, in my opinion, especially small business owners, teams, but I can help at any level. I've been, worked in large corporations and public entities, but I really have a heart for the small business owner and the team, or the leader in the team. Maybe you're not the business owner, but you're tasked with building up an organization, building up a biology department or an engineering department, whatever the case might be, and you're doing both the technical work that you have to do, but now you also have to manage it and you have to lead in the organization. And these are different skills that you have to move between. And this is the challenge that we face, particularly in the AEC industry, but others as well. That's just the one I'm specifically most familiar with, having worked in it for over 20 plus years. And so I've seen the limit on innovation and growth when we don't go and allow ourselves that opportunity because we're not leading from that place. Ultimately, we would want to lead and have more employees engaged, being creative, and retained and developing them. And so this is one that you initially, when I do proposals or I look with business owners and I say, let's look at your retention rate, because that is a definite indicator of your leadership. That's why I say circumstantial. You don't know always. Like I said, I did an exit interview yesterday. The employee was leaving because they were moving. Well, that didn't have anything to do with the company, but we want to understand that what's causing their loss or retention of the employees. And so I get to come in and this is what I'm so passionate about, offer continuous learning and growth opportunities, helping business owners and leaders in the organization support their team. By having that, I want to, number one, honor. I'm just so grateful for the clients that I get to work with that invest in their teams like this, because it does, I can tell you firsthand, because I'm direct evidence, I'm working with them, but they see that. The business owners see how these employees feel supported and engaged and want to stick around. So there is so much to this, and I want to actually go a lot more in this, you guys, but in the effort of time, I wanted just to highlight and think about this. What are the circumstantial evidence that you have? And I've talked about culture, morale, performance, productivity, innovation, growth, your employees, how you retain them, look at your team dynamics. What do you even recognize externally? There's a lot more. Your employee advocacy, there's things I haven't even touched on today. But are you clear on the circumstantial evidence pointing to solid leadership in your organization? Are you paying attention to those indicators and those facts? Or are you kind of only looking for direct evidence? If you're only looking for direct evidence, I'm just warning you, guiding you, you're going to have blind spots and you could lose big time here. And I don't want that for you. If you're listening to this episode, you've stuck around this long, you know I am for you, want to provide value. And so reach out to me. I do a free discovery call. I provide this as a way of finding value, understanding where you're at. What are the problems you're facing? What's working? What's not working? Let's get clear at that together, forge a path where you can have support outside, and let's get you in a healthy place, moving you from frustration to victory, what I like to say, giving you value and support. That's what I do in Steward Your Business, both individually and organizationally, helping individuals and their teams. So I appreciate you guys listening to me on this, because this is so important that we have this in our world today. We have so much dysfunction, so many things that are off in organizations, and people struggling with themselves. And this is okay. I did too. I did too for a long time. And I'm sharing from a place of humbleness and the way I've learned, and I want to see you win. And so I appreciate you guys coming and listening on today. I want you to be convicted, both direct and circumstantial evidence, that you are an amazing, intelligent human leader, that you have the skills, abilities, and you are doing the work daily to lead your teams, lead yourself, and come out on victory on the other side. I appreciate you guys listening, and I look forward to the next episode of the Intelligent Human Leadership. Until then, please like, subscribe, all of those good things. Find me on social media, share. I appreciate your reviews. They're vital to continuing to get the message out there. And I wish you guys an amazing day. Go get them. All right, guys. Have a great day. Bye now.